4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special E3 2015 edition. I can't do this voice for long because it hurts.
I was gonna say, what happened? Did we end up on the show with Alex Jones somehow?
So, what's up, guys? This is Rare Drop Gaming. It's episode 4, as that announcer guy said, 2015 edition. I am Jason, joined by...
I'm Andrew.
I'm Moose Gallon.
And this is Adam.
All right, so we're back in the saddle.
Yep.
3-3.
It's crazy. We haven't gotten together and done a show in quite a while, guys.
Yeah, it's much more fun with all four of us.
It really is.
Yeah, everybody's busy these days too.
Yep.
And we're
Can't be
quote
helped.
unquote adults now, you know.
Only in theory.
Yes, only in theory. So we're playing XCOM today, isn't that right, Andrew, aka Phantoms Y?
That is correct. We are playing the XCOM Enemy Within, well, I should say XCOM Enemy Unknown with the Enemy Within expansion over top of it. So I'm just going to start a new game on normal here, because anything beyond that just destroys me. If I started on Classic, we'd probably have lost the XCOM project before the show was over.
You do what you can do, man.
Yeah. But then again, maybe people would enjoy that, so maybe I'll do that, actually.
Yeah. Hey,
why not? We'll go Classic.
Whatever you want to do, man. But we are playing XCOM in honor of the XCOM 2 announcement, which we actually talked about XCOM 2 a good bit last show, but, you know, we actually got gameplay and everything at E3. So we'll be talking a lot more about XCOM 2 later in the show.
Indeed, among many other games.
Indeed. All right, so let's get to it. We'll start our promo off here saying that, of course, we are streaming live on Twitch. And, of course, if you're watching on YouTube, you can watch us live on twitch.tv/raredropgaming. And for those watching on Twitch, we're available anytime on YouTube at youtube.com/raredropgamepodcast.
Yep, so if you have to leave early or anything, you can catch the rest of the show on YouTube.
Indeed, indeed. So, man, this was a crazy big E3. And I think I'm just going to start off this way. Can we all agree that Sony won the press conference wars? Like, is there any debate here?
I've heard people who have said otherwise, but I would.
Of course, it's the internet.
Yeah.
but for you guys, like, I mean...
It's a personal thing, you know?
Like, I would call it for Sony. How about you guys?
Agreed.
It's the same for me, but a lot of that is nostalgia plays for sure. So,
no doubt about that, and we are going to start out by talking about the Final Fantasy VII Remake announcement, which came with a little trailer, no actual gameplay, but I think we've been talking about this for like 10 years, basically, maybe longer, how they should do a Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I don't know, man. Maybe it's 10 years too late, but it is finally going to happen.
yeah, I don't know if I'd say it's 10 years too late, but I feel like the optimal time for them to have announced this has passed. At the same time, I'm still excited about it. I just feel like a lot of people who probably played Final Fantasy VII back in their youth and have really fond memories and stuff, they're probably not really so much into games now like they were. You know, because they're adults now.
But do you think that this can make people go out and buy a console and, you know, I mean, do you think it's a system seller or it will
In
be
Japan.
a system seller?
Hey,
And
I'll
for
say
some
this.
people.
The guy who sits across from me in the cubicle across from me, he has Final Fantasy Fanfare as his ringtone.
That's awesome.
And I asked him this past week, I said, so are you excited about the remake? And he said, oh yeah. He said, I think I'm finally going to buy a PlayStation 4 because of it.
Same goes
There
for
you go.
me. I'm the same way. So
that's a little anecdote, I guess, for that particular question.
yeah, I guess that you know, definitely seems like for some people, system seller.
So, what do you guys want to see out of a Final Fantasy VII Remake? Because we know at this point that they are going to make a few changes. They're probably... Obviously, you're not going to have chibi characters anymore, so the graphics are going to be different.
Yeah,
You're probably going to have some different gameplay and story elements, but what do you guys want to see? Like, what's your dream Final Fantasy VII Remake?
A new translation.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
By a
very, very
mile.
important.
I think
for
that's
sure.
where the most changes are going to be, is in the translation.
Yeah, they're going to get a quality team to do the Final Fantasy VII remake translation. Like they just, it would be ridiculous for them not to. So.
Well, and they also need to implement all of that
Oh no.
other story that they introduced that clarified the things that they didn't clarify so well, like later on. So they need to bring like certain storytelling elements, probably from Crisis Core and other things that sort of clear up some of the plot problems that sort of became obvious after like multiple playthroughs of Final Fantasy VII. It's like, this is never really explained, or I don't really quite understand this. They need to do that, but I think they also need to more challenging gameplay. I liked the first Final Fantasy VII, but it was very, very easy. So I think if they upped the difficulty, that would be great. Maybe even gave us a couple of new weapons as sort of like optional bosses. That would be pretty cool.
I feel like I don't want them to mess with combat too much, though. That's my, kind of rebuttal to that. So I feel like it's a balancing act. Like I want them to, make combat more challenging, but I don't want them to mess with the materia system, I guess is the main thing.
I don't think your materia system's going anywhere. I'm sure there will probably be new materia too.
Oh yeah, there should be.
I just I want the game to reflect. It's just the first one. I don't really know how else to say it. The first one was just too easy.
Yeah.
Like how often did anyone ever die in the first one? This is something that basically never happened.
It happened to me because I tried. I didn't grind.
Well,
I should say when I first played it, I didn't grind. Hello?
Oh, we're still here.
All right, great.
Moose Gallon, how about you? What's your dream scenario for Final Fantasy VII?
Change as little as possible.
What would you want them to change? Just like upgrade the graphics and kind of.
I think they should add some more materia slots to certain weapons. But that's very finite little changes. Nothing major. It mostly just needs a new translation, because the translation is notoriously horrible.
Yeah, it's not good.
And I am in a minority. They need to pick a new voice cast. The people who did Advent Children were not good.
Really, I thought they were pretty acceptable.
They
I didn't
were,
really have a
but
problem.
most of them aren't in the voice acting industry right now anyway.
Really? Well,
So they're gonna
that
have
kind
to
of
pick a new voice
necessitates it
cast.
in that case.
They're going to have to pick a brand new voice cast anyway, and if I was them, I would go clean slate, all new.
I don't remember. Did they try to hire like famous actors, or it's been so long since Advent Children came out.
It was a mix. It was a mix of up and coming talent and recognized talent. But from what I've read, most of the recognized talent isn't available. So I think this is a good opportunity to do clean slate. Just get all new people. Because they've already said they want to fully voice act. They want to do as much voice acting as possible.
Oh yeah, it again would being 2015. It would be ridiculous if it wasn't all voice acted.
Yeah, definitely.
And I have to agree with Sun Wukong. Crisis Core and all the other ancillary Final Fantasy VII products put more story into the game.
Yeah.
Into the lore. Some of it has a place. Some of it does not.
Yeah, of course. They don't want to do all of it. That would be absurd.
I think some of it really does have a place. Some of it helps explain some things. But part of me wonders if we had to have these explanations because the translation was so bad.
Yeah, I've wondered the same thing, but and at the same time too, like if they improve the translation or they tell the story in the proper way, hopefully it's the kind of thing we won't necessarily even notice, because the last thing we want are like long scenes of dialogue just explaining things.
But the thing is, think about Final Fantasy. Like it's notoriously kind of exposition heavy, but not really. Generally, in terms of like explaining the story, because the stories are always batshit crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, it's more like, yeah, exactly. Instead, it's more like
Metal Gear.
the characters acting weird and emo, and just I don't know. There's something weird about the presentation of Final Fantasy in terms of the way that they have the characters say a lot but not really say much. If that makes any sense.
I think Square has gotten better.
If you say
In some
Square's gotten
ways.
better in any way, I can't.
In
agree
some
with you.
ways, I think Square has gotten better since Final Fantasy VII.
Their cinematics have gotten better.
Yeah,
No,
I
I
guess
think-
their art team is better.
I think 10 was better at that than 7 was.
Guys, we lost
Oh
a soldier.
Lord, they better not bring in one of these stupid 12 style battle systems. I'll
No,
be
they've-
fucking pissed.
They're not going
Uh,
to change the battle system.
I don't
I hope not.
want to like steer my characters toward a battle and watch them play it for me.
Yeah, that's
I
a lot
think-
of fun.
Screw that.
I think all that stuff stays the same.
Guys, I
There'll
might
be
lose the
random
first mission.
encounters. I'm not surprised. You're on Classic.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
So we're discussing Final Fantasy VII here on Rare Drop Gaming,
Yep. The remake.
the remake, and what we want to see in it. So go ahead, Moose Gallon. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there.
I don't think they're changing any of that stuff. It'll be random encounters. It'll be the materia system. I think the most we can hope for is them adding stuff. But I don't think they're going to subtract anything. And I think everybody's screaming and complaining that certain un-PC things have to go away are pissing up a rope. It ain't going. They ain't changing this crap.
Well, I mean, Square is certainly stuck in their ways,
A Japanese company does not care what the U.S. Twitter is saying.
Well, I do think that they actually care for this game because, I mean, this is an international treasure almost when it comes
Correct.
to
They
video
don't-
games.
They don't care about Cloud's cross-dressing scene.
Oh,
don't
I think
care.
that'll be in there, and I think it'll be funny.
But that's the stuff they're complaining about.
I'm looking forward to hearing a voice actor for Don Corneo.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, I'm sort of iffy about voice acting in the game anyway. I mean, I understand why it has to be done, but yeah, if they get the right guy for Don Corneo, it'll be pretty amusing, I think. Or is it Corneo? I'm not really sure.
I've heard it pronounced both ways.
I would say
And this is the kind of
Corneo,
thing that'll be
but I have
cleared
no
up
idea.
by the voice acting.
Well, a lot of things are going to be cleared up by the voice acting. There's a lot of weird words in Final Fantasy VII that.
Let's hope that they get a good dub cast, though. we
Well,
don't
it'll have both language tracks.
we don't
so
need more ha ha ha.
Oh
Thanks,
God!
Titus.
It'll have both
Oh, I'm
language
dead.
tracks, so it should be fine.
Oh, not good.
XCOM is falling right now. But yeah, I think the Final Fantasy VII Remake will be awesome for fans, but I don't know. I feel like there's definitely plenty of people who don't care. So,
Well, I mean that tends to be the case with any game.
You know, kids these days.
yeah, whippersnappers.
I mean it's crazy because I do feel like had it been released 10 years earlier.
I think
Like-
10 years is a bit much.
All right, had it been released during the PS3 and Xbox 360 life cycle, like, fairly early on, even if it had been announced, fairly early on and came out later, it would have been a bigger deal. But I'm still excited to see this. I'm excited for, what changes they make. And, I really hope that they think this through and do a good job. That's the main thing, because you don't want this to disappoint. And there are always going to be people who are going to bitch and moan no matter what you do. But I feel like they really need to put everything they have into this. And, they need to bring back the people they need to bring back to make it properly. So I'm crossing my fingers. I guess we're going to see.
Yeah,
And they don't have to rush.
We'll see in 5 to 10 years, right?
Yeah,
Pretty much.
this game is not coming out next year.
No, this game probably won't be out before 2019, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
This is a 2018-2019 game.
So, yeah,
All right.
that was cool.
And they-
I'm
doubt
very
they're
excited
gonna
about
start-
it. Like, it's easy to be cynical about it, but I'm very excited about it nonetheless.
Yeah,
So-
it's something that I never thought would happen at this point.
Yeah, same here.
So,
We know-
speaking of things we never thought would happen, Shenmue 3?
Yeah,
I mean,
how crazy is that?
like, there have been campaigns on Twitter for a long, long time. Save Shenmue. And, I've been pretty vocal on Twitter, and, I always retweet a good majority of their stuff saying save Shenmue, because I loved Shenmue 1 and 2. But honestly, in my heart, I never thought that it would happen because Yu Suzuki has been pretty much retired for years. He's the creator behind Shenmue. And also, let's not forget that Shenmue 1 and 2 were Sega Dreamcast games. Shenmue 2 was ported to Xbox. Right, exactly, Moose Gallon. But, they're both pretty much thought of as Sega Dreamcast games. And, Shenmue 1 and 2 almost bankrupted Sega, basically.
Yeah, they didn't sell as well as they hoped.
Yeah, they spent millions of dollars on these games and didn't sell that well. I mean, for the time, though, these games were amazing. Like, I mean, there was no Grand Theft Auto, what was it, GTA 3 at this point. There was nothing like that, nothing open world. Shenmue was really the first open world game I think that I ever played, and I'm sure there's something else that was kind of more open world out at that point. But just the Japanese setting and the fighting system and how that all came together. I mean,
not only that, there was the dialogue, and
yeah, everything was voice acted.
Yeah, the
you
great
run around,
voice acting.
Well, I mean, the thing is, you would run around and talk to people and investigate, kind of like a cop would, and you had to figure out what your next step would be before you could move on. It was really interesting.
How about a game of Lucky Hit?
Yeah, there was that too, which I wasn't so much a fan of.
But my point is, like, Shenmue, like, a lot of kids, I guess, again, going back to like the Final Fantasy thing, a lot of people haven't played Shenmue. A lot of it was, I guess, because it was a Dreamcast game, and and also I guess it wasn't like thought of that well at the time it came out. But Shenmue was truly, truly revolutionary, and it's just really amazing to me that they announced this Kickstarter. And not only did they announce it, I mean, they already met their goal. Shenmue 3 is going to happen. And
they met their goal, I think, the second day of the Kickstarter. $3 million.
It is the like the fastest ever
Kickstarter.
Yeah, it's insane. But I mean, I think over time, Shenmue has gotten this great cult following, and a lot of it's word of mouth, and also people play old games now on YouTube and things like that, and that is something a lot of kids watch. So
Shenmue is up to $3,505,000 right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's doing all right.
And I mean, Sony has already basically said, "Yeah, we're back in the rest of the project." So
yeah, this is
now that people have shown that they're going to throw $3 million at it before we even have a copy out, I guess we'll fund it.
I think they were funding it beforehand too.
Well, I mean, they kind of knew what they were getting into from the press conference.
I think they knew exactly how popular this was going to be.
Well, I think Sony was of the mindset, all right, if you reach $3 million, okay, there's obviously a huge interest here, so we'll fund the rest of the game, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the press conference, you could tell they kind of knew. Like they had a theme throughout the press conference, right? There was Last Guardian, Final Fantasy VII, Shenmue 3. All games people have been clamoring for that people kind of didn't think were going to happen at this point,
Yeah.
So they were definitely hitting the nostalgia card for their press conference. That was clearly kind of the theme and the strategy.
Which for us,
for a lot of the press conference, I shouldn't say.
I think
that
Sony,
was the strategy.
They sat back and said, "So a lot of our new stuff hasn't been going that well. So
Yeah.
here's some old stuff."
Basically, yeah.
And I guess for our age demographic, that obviously works. And I guess to people who are critical of that, that's fair too.
Yeah, there's people who are going to say, do something new, and there's nothing wrong with that.
And they can say do something new, and then I will point to sequel sell.
Yeah,
they definitely do.
Yeah, it's hard to argue that point.
So I mean, very quickly, I'll ask the same question I asked with Final Fantasy VII, because we have a lot of games to cover here, and a fairly short amount of time to do it.
Yeah.
What would you guys like to see from Shenmue 3? And I don't know how much Adam and John, how much you guys have played of the Shenmue series, but still, what are your hopes for this game?
Just let Yu Suzuki do whatever he wants. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Adam, how about you?
I'll just make a comment. I think it would have been funny if they would have made both of these announcements and then said, like, immediately after that, these new games are going to be coming out on their brand new PSP.
Yep. Forget
Final
the Vita.
Fantasy VII remake on Sony's PSP, whatever.
That would have pissed a lot of
Like,
people off.
there was like no talk of the Vita this year.
Yeah, there was a little bit.
The Vita's pretty much dead.
I mean, it's nothing compared to the 3DS.
It's kind of sad.
It's
really.
just the score, you know.
But yeah,
I can't believe I'm actually considering buying a 3DS these days. But
it's a great machine.
You will definitely enjoy most of your time with the 3DS.
There's a lot of shit for it, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Pokemans.
Pokemans.
Andrew, what are your wishes for Shenmue 3?
I guess my wishes are that it's a little less tedious than Shenmue 1 in particular. Shenmue 2 I thought was more along the lines of what I wanted from Shenmue.
Right.
I liked the atmosphere better in 1, but I liked kind of the pacing, I guess, of Shenmue 2 better. You know, there was more combat, it was more action-oriented, and you had to do less just running around talking to people, and I mean, I like running around and talking to people, but it felt like there were just blocks and blocks in Shenmue 1 where all you had to do was run around, find this pawn shop owner, ask him about the mirror, then he would send you to, like, the dock where you had to work with a forklift job, and, like...
that part of the game sucked.
Yeah, I hated that. So, you know, I want less of that, and, you know, more of, hey, this asshole killed my father, I'm gonna find him and murder his ass. So, you know, maybe a little less violent, but I don't think that's really Ryo's thing.
Yeah, Ryo Hazuki's not a violent man. Thus far.
We say, you know, even though he's beat the shit out of, like, innumerable hoodlums, but
yeah,
it's always bad guys.
Yep, they're always trying to do him harm.
Indeed.
And that makes it okay.
That's right.
That's right.
Violence is
right.
the answer, as long as it's self-defense.
Yes, totally.
So yeah, I guess that's kind of... It's very general, I know, but I don't really have, like, a wish list of... Well, specifically, I want this in Shenmue 3, you know? I just want them to kind of hit the pacing and the general things I liked about the first one. I'm not someone who was really into the capsule toys and the forklift job and, you know, the mini games that so many people like about the game. I kind of hated all that stuff. I was more a fan of running around. I love training at night, increasing the strength of my moves, because that was when progression in games still was not really a common thing either. Now it's like
Every game.
Yeah, every game has a progression system.
Right.
But, you know, back then that was still kind of novel, especially in an action-type game. You know, so I loved that kind of stuff. I loved feeling like I was getting stronger, and I loved then, you know, utilizing that on, you know, thugs who thought that they were, you know, major badasses. So, you know, I want more of that stuff, and I eventually want to find Lon D and figure out what's going on and kick his ass.
We hopefully get that final fight, man.
Yeah, and I hope they don't pull a Mass Effect where it's like, we can't win this conventionally, and, like, you don't get to fight Lon D. It's some bullshit, you know, like, cop-out, basically. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I want
totally.
to fight Lon D, is what I'm saying.
Right. I mean, you've spent 2 games building up your skills to face Lon D.
It didn't
Come
stop
on.
Mass Effect from spending 2 games building up to fighting the Reapers and then not letting you fight Reapers.
Yeah, I know. Let's not harp on that, though.
Yeah, I could harp on that forever. Anyway, Shenmue 3. I have high hopes. So.
Yeah, I do as well. You know, I said when Sleeping Dogs came out, that was pretty much my Shenmue 3. Because, you know, it took place in Hong Kong. Shenmue 2 took place in Hong Kong. And, you know, it had a lot of martial arts elements going to it. Honestly, I would like to see them incorporate a lot of what was in Sleeping Dogs. Like, I don't want a copy of Sleeping Dogs, but, like, I want that that great story to still be in there that Shenmue has, you know? But I want it to be a little more open world, because open world games have progressed a lot, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And
like,
I mean,
big time.
Yeah, like, you know, Shenmue 1 and 2, like I said, they were pretty much like the father, at least for me, of open world games. So, I'd like to see Shenmue 3 do it in grand style. And, you're going to be in mainland China, which is a very exotic location.
Yeah.
So I feel like, and you're going to be there during the 80s. So I feel like that's the opportunity to show off some very interesting locations. I know they're talking about like different villages, and I don't know what Yu Suzuki has in mind specifically, but I hope for some cool locations, and of course also pretty much all the stuff you mentioned, Phantom's Why. Like I don't care about a lot of the mini games. I want the game to be exciting, to move forward. And
yeah,
I
don't want them to waste time and development time and, in-game time doing all that junk. I want to fight shit.
Yeah, exactly. So, still interesting characters and all that, with all that open world badass stuff that Shenmue has. So,
I'm playing real bad.
It happens, man.
But yeah, looking forward to Shenmue 3.
Yes, as am I. And we are going to move on here, and we are going to talk about South Park. And I'm going to let...
Come on, you got to put the subtitle on there.
Oh,
man.
I'm going to let Adam take us away here and talk all about the South Park RPG sequel.
All right.
Well, I think the surprising thing here is, I don't know, maybe I was out of the loop, but was anyone anticipating an announcement that there was going to be a Stick of Truth sequel?
This came out of nowhere. The creators of South Park said straight up, like, they were never doing another game.
No, yeah, that's what I'd heard. They said that, it wasn't so much that I read that they said they would never do one, just that they probably wouldn't do one for a while because this one was so taxing. And then all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, what? South Park fractured butthole?
I'm pretty sure they like money, and that's kind of the result of this.
Well, anyway, so South Park, the fractured butthole, but BUTWHOLE, the fractured butthole.
Yeah,
so
as in the whole of the butt.
Right. See, it's a juxtaposition. It's sort of a poetic statement how they're fractured but they're whole at the same time. The fractured but whole.
You only expect the best poetry from South Park.
Yes, indeed.
So if you go watch the trailer for it, the trailer doesn't really say anything. It's really just more of a funny announcement trailer where the boys are, Cartman complains that the Stick of Truth is in the toilet, and then they get ready to like fight some new villain, and then they arrive at where they're going to fight the villain, and then Butters as Professor Chaos like shows up and says something about Coon and Friends. So then Cartman's like, Coon and Friends? Oh shit, we're in the wrong game. And then they all like, all right, everyone, we're playing superheroes now. So they'll like run away, put on their superhero clothes, then like run back. So we don't really know much about South Park, the fractured butthole, except that it's going to be the boys playing superheroes instead of playing fantasy this time. And also, I don't know, I suspect based on the trailer that they're changing the combat system because Cartman like riffs on the combat system from the first.
They even did that in the game, though. So
it's true, they did. But I actually didn't think the combat was that bad.
No, it was just kind of old school.
It was, but it was old school in a different way because like status effects were the shit in South Park: The Stick of Truth, and status effects were always useless in old school games.
That's true. That's also
they're
true,
like, oh, this would be so awesome if anything that this would actually be useful on worked.
Yeah, if I could actually paralyze something that wasn't like something I could kill in one hit, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that was the problem. It's like, ooh, blind. This could be useful, except anything that can be blinded, I can just kill by hitting it once. So this is pointless.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, I think that they did say something about like this would tell more about the kid's backstory or something, which I thought was funny.
Did we need more? Oh, the new kids.
Yeah, the new kid. Like your kid.
I thought we got plenty of new kid backstory. You've got to finish that game, man. There are so many scenes I can't discuss with you because you haven't finished
Yeah, I really do, man. I really, really do. I've got so many games I need to play.
I don't think you've seen the underpants. I don't think you've seen the underpants gnomes.
I have not, in fact. And I love the underpants gnomes.
Yeah, I know, right?
So, yeah.
So yeah, that's a great thing about South Park: The Stick of Truth. I think it was a game that did a very good job walking the line between like just being a fun experience and being funny in general, but also having plenty of inside jokes for South Park fans who were going to recognize what was going on, like running around and collecting the Chinpokomon.
Chinpokomon.
So yeah, I'm excited. I like that game, and I'll almost certainly buy it on the PC because that's my preferred gaming outlet these days.
Heck yeah, man! If you can.
Yep, I have to agree, man. If you can play PC,
Yeah, as long as they do a good job porting stuff, you know, it's the place to play.
yeah.
Well, it's like I already have a PC. You know, I don't I don't need a console
Yeah,
to
it's
play.
just
like half the stuff.
exclusives kind of get in the way.
Yeah, I know. That's about it. So
But it is what it is. What can you do?
So yeah, not a whole lot of information on that one, but a fun one nonetheless for any South Park fans.
Yeah. Looking
Yep.
forward to it.
Indeed. All right. Well, thank you again for listening to Rare Drop Gaming. We are talking about E3 2015 here, and we are going to move on in our discussion and talk about Mad Max. The movie is new. It just came out. We saw it in theaters. Andrew, you did. Actually, yeah, you did go with us.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
It's the first movie you've been to in forever, man.
Yeah, it's literally the first time I've been to the theater probably in 2 years, but I did go see it.
Now, John, you have not seen Mad Max yet, right?
Nope.
All right, so no spoilers. But
Well, I mean, we wouldn't want to do it anyway. It's still fairly new.
yeah, it is. But the movie is awesome, and you should definitely go and see it.
Yeah.
And they showed a lot of the game at E3, and you know, usually with movie games, I write them off, man.
Right.
Like,
Licensed games are generally pretty bad.
yeah, they're pretty awful typically. But Mad Max, it looks like it might actually be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it's too early to really say too much. It looks pretty.
Yep, and it's got kind of an open world thing going. It reminds me a lot of Borderlands, which obviously copied a lot of stuff from Mad Max.
Yeah, I guess we should be saying it the other way around, really, right? Like, Borderlands, I guess, ultimately reminded us of Mad Max, you just didn't know it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I think the vehicle combat looks neat. From what I saw of the ground stuff, that looks pretty good too. I like the fact that you have I don't think it's the same guy from the movie riding in the back of your car, but it's you know, it's one of those guys. And it's going to have its own unique story, which that kind of gives me hope for the game, because you realize, hey, they've been working on this for a long time, and it hasn't just been in development for 6 months, you know?
Right.
But of course it utilizes, I guess, villains and concepts from the new movie. You know, I'm sure they had that. So, you know, I think it has a chance to be kind of cool. Of course, that being said, I would wait for reviews before you buy it. But
yeah, I would also wait. See
This is what I want to know. Will there be a guitar mode?
So
I
you
hope.
can use your flamethrower guitar.
Yes, or there at least there needs to be, like, they could almost do like a Guitar Hero style like game mode.
The new Guitar Hero was at E3.
Awesome. Or they could do something similar where you've got to play like the right riffs in order to kill your enemies or something. But yeah, there needs to be a guitar mode in the game.
That would be pretty
Does it-
sweet.
Only makes sense to anyone who's actually seen the film.
Heck yeah.
indeed,
You should see the film. It's
Yes.
funny. I don't think I've ever seen a film with so much plot relative to how little dialogue was in it.
if you can
Yeah,
call it a
for
plot.
sure.
No. There was a real plot in that movie. Like,
There
you
was.
could
They just
actually
didn't
spoil
say
things
much.
that happened in that film. It was just not a dialogue-driven plot.
It's almost like watching a Hong Kong cinema movie.
No, it's like watching the opposite of a Quentin Tarantino film.
That's
It's
kind of
like-
harsh.
No. Quentin Tarantino. That's not harsh. I'm not actually saying anything bad about Tarantino. Tarantino has some very good dialogue-driven films.
No, you're just saying there's too much dialogue in those films.
No, I'm not saying there's too much. I'm just saying that this is the opposite. This is a lot of plot with very little dialogue, whereas Tarantino goes the opposite direction. He has a lot of plot, but he powers it with a lot of dialogue.
Ah, I see. But yeah, it's definitely one of the coolest films I've seen in the theater in a while. I mean, I don't think I've heard anyone say anything bad about it, other than maybe, it's too violent. But is that ever really a bad thing?
For
I
some
don't know.
people,
That
sure.
Mortal Kombat X is kind of, oh my god.
Oh yeah, man. God, you were showing me some fatalities from that.
Which, by the way,
Things are
I really
brutal.
hope, as I mentioned this whenever we met last week, that Square Enix has absolutely no discipline at all, and just decides that when Sephiroth kills Aerith or Aerith or whatever they're going to call her in this version of the game, that he just like straight up scorpion fatalities her. Just falls out of the sky and chops her face off, and then slides down with her like severed tongue and her brain exposed, because that would be hilarious.
Fatality.
Spoilers, by
Like,
the way.
no, my childhood.
Nah, it's not spoilers at this point. That game is 20 years old.
Yeah, but they're remaking it now.
Nah,
But the people who are gonna play it are the ones who've already played it.
pretty much. I don't know though.
That's
you
not
might have
fair,
some-
actually.
Yeah, I guess it's not really fair. So sorry for the spoilers. Oh man. Anyway.
I think we're,
So-
I
It
think we're
amuses
safe
me.
with the Final Fantasy VII spoilers.
Yeah. At this point, I just wouldn't do it like towards when the game is coming out.
You know what? Maybe she won't die in the new game. Maybe she'll move.
Now, if
she'll
they did
dodge.
that, people would explode. Like with some people with happiness, some people with anger.
I think that's actually going to be in the game.
What if?
I think there's going to be some kind of, hardcore-esque thing where you can actually save her.
Nah, man, that's too ingrained in the plot.
I know,
Like
but
far
what
too
if
much
I can see
them doing
behind
it.
Cloud's motivations, and
I can see them doing it.
What if they somehow give you the option to save her?
That's
I mean,
exactly what John was saying, though.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm agreeing. Like, what if they do that? What if they go that route?
It changes things too much, man.
You think?
Yeah,
I think it's kind of a cop out.
Not even just I think, man. Like that's what I know, man.
No,
There-
I'm not
there's
talking about
too-
save her. I'm
There's
not
too
talking
much
about
stuff
saving
that
her
happens in that game.
in that scene. I'm talking about bringing her back later.
I mean, I maybe if you could do it like at the very end of the game,
Yeah,
somehow.
I could see them.
But
doing
even
that. I
then,
could
that
see
kinda
them, the
changes-
post-credit scene.
That's
But
still
then
a-
how does she summon Holy to stop the meteor?
and that's even changes the context of the final fight and the ending, and Anyway,
Sephiroth.
I think it takes more discipline, like, not to do it. You know what I
I
mean?
agree.
So Mad Max. From
Yeah.
Final Fantasy to Mad Max.
That's true. We got right back on that. And didn't even think
Yep.
about it.
So, like I said, I mean, there's not really much more to say about it. Like, we saw a stage demo. There have been trailers that have been released. It looks pretty awesome, from what I can tell. Be interested to play it.
Yeah, I hope it's good.
Yes. All right. Sea of Thieves is a pirate game that is coming exclusively to Xbox One. It's a multiplayer. Yes, indeed, Yar. Multiplayer kind of game. And, I was just interested in it because it had pirates.
It almost looks
Yar.
like a pseudo MMO. It's weird.
Yeah.
So, what's got me confused about the trailer in this, though, is... So, you can clearly see that there are multiple players on a single ship.
hmm
Hmm.
So, mechanically, something very bizarre is happening here, obviously. I mean,
Bizarre. Yar.
bizarre.
Bizarre. Yes. I like that.
Womp, womp, womp. No, I'm curious about this because most of the other attempts at making pirate-themed games have always involved, like, making the ship combat really good. So how are they going to do ship combat when you have multiple players on one ship?
Right.
Isn't Guns of Icarus doing that?
I haven't a clue.
Yeah, that's a multiplayer.
Isn't that like airships? But
Similar.
like
Yeah, since
I
there's
think
multiple
I'm thinking
players.
of the right game. I'm not even 100%
Yeah.
sure about that.
It's using multiple players to man different parts of the ship.
Hmm.
So it's not new. People have done it. I think they'll just be AI if something happens.
Well, I'm not really so much concerned about that. I'm just wondering, like, what is this game going to look like?
Yeah.
When this happens, because this is I don't know. I'm trying to imagine like ship combat where the players all feel like they're meaningfully contributing to whatever's going on, but there are multiple players on the ship. I don't know. I'm not I'm not trying to sound like skeptical about it. I'm a little. It's an interesting, or it's a different concept. So I'm interested to see how it'll be executed.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think they're going to handle it the same way Guns of Icarus did.
Possible.
Yeah,
We'll see.
I mean, it's definitely an interesting concept, you know.
Hmm.
How it's executed, I don't know. Would this qualify as an indie game? I'm not really sure.
It's from
Oh
Rare,
no,
isn't
man,
it?
yeah, this is a Rare game,
It's
man.
rare. It's first party.
That's not even remotely indie.
Do you think it actually gets a box release,
Yeah,
Probably.
the full deal?
yeah, I think
If
so.
the rare collection is, it's going to.
Yeah, I mean, this is a Rare game.
Yeah, which
It would be
speaking of
stranger to
which,
me if it didn't. It'd be like, what?
if we're going to like tropical locales in a Rare game, Donkey Kong better make an appearance somewhere, or I'm gonna be pissed.
I don't think they can do it.
Don't get your hopes up. That's all I'm saying.
No, but it's Rare. They own Donkey, or they did own Donkey Kong. I don't know if
They
they own
did.
it anymore.
They don't know.
Actually, Nintendo owns it, I believe. Is
That's
that
a
correct, Moose Gallon?
Yes, Rare owns only the stuff they created.
Does Rare still own Killer Instinct?
No, the Amazon studio the studio that Amazon bought the license, and then Amazon bought the studio.
That's wild to me.
I didn't know that. Interesting.
So no Jago or B Orchid either.
No,
Or whatever she says.
at best you'll see Banjo and Kazooie, and that's probably it.
Oh man.
Banjo Kazooie.
There's a thing. So
What they couldn't get us Crash Bandicoot or something instead?
No, that's a Sony IP.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. We're gonna take you back to the best.
Which that's the remake everyone really wants, is the Crash Bandicoot remake.
Oh yeah. I can tell you, I'm hankering for a Crash Bandicoot remake.
I have been waiting for 20 years for that game to be remade. Come on, Sony.
Just holding your breath the
yes.
whole time.
I mean, that game is up there for me with Final Fantasy VII and Shenmue.
Classics.
And, I mean, man, like, that game changed my childhood greatly.
You know there's
like,
someone out there that's like, fuck yeah!
What are you talking about? I'm serious.
Clearly.
One of the best games ever made.
I mean, it wasn't bad.
No,
So-
it really wasn't.
But yeah.
I was gonna see how long I could,
just
how far I
keep
could
the
take
joke
that.
going.
just totally bullshitting it, you know?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So, Sea of Thieves. Cool.
It's a thing.
Anything to add?
I'm just happy that game makers are making pirate games now,
Yar.
because when I was a kid we couldn't have found any of these, and now we can. And I've always been on Team Pirate. Screw ninjas. Team Pirate.
Oh,
It's just-
totally disagree there.
Yep. I'm of a different mindset for sure.
Yeah, me too.
Pirates of
Japan,
the
son.
Yeah, after Pirates of a Burning Sea was canceled, I didn't think the pirate genre was going to come back.
Pirates of Burning Sea is still out, man.
Or
Yeah.
what was that other one that they were making?
Oh, there was, the Assassin's Creed game that had a
I mean, that one
it
came
was
out.
very heavy
They're-
pirate.
They're very successful Black Flag game.
Yeah, the best Assassin's Creed game still,
Yeah.
even now.
And apparently they, from what I hear, I don't know. I don't know how reliable this information is, but apparently they basically asked the players, "Would you rather us continue to try to make like Assassin's Creed pirate games, or you just want us to make our own franchise with pirate games, so we don't have to keep trying to like pigeonhole pirates into this Assassin's Creed story?" And apparently the fans said that they preferred just to go ahead and make their own like pirate franchise,
Which would make more sense to me.
which
So.
would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'd love to see more Assassin's Creed pirates.
Well, no, he's
Well, no,
saying
no,
he's saying the opposite. He's saying that
Yeah.
they would create their own franchise, so they didn't have to keep bullshitting to try to
Oh.
get pirates into Assassin's Creed.
Oh, so you're saying like they won't have the Assassin's Creed name on it?
Right, Yeah,
and
because-
like
because
a pirate
it's
game that
dumb
has nothing to do with
That
Assassin's.
assassins are
I'm so-
pirates again and again and again.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
they're like,
I'm so
you
brain
guys
dead.
don't really want us to do this, right?
Yeah, our audience will have to forgive me. I'm just totally brain dead today. I've been up since like 7 this morning, so
That's way too early.
yeah, I haven't slept well recently. But anyway, pirates are awesome. I don't think they're better than ninjas, but pirates do rock.
Ninjas are just stock. They're boring. They're white bread.
No,
Pirates are boring, man.
Dude,
They're like,
pirates.
okay, booty. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna fight for treasure
Who
now.
doesn't like booty? Come on.
Pirates.
Booty
Pirates.
Well,
rum.
It depends on the type of booty we're
Yes,
referring
I'm an
to.
exactly.
American. Now I'm a man. A man.
Man.
I like
Bring
my,
it all back to the butthole.
There are so
Yes.
many pirate jokes I could insert here. It's unreal.
Yar.
Yar. Yar.
Whoa. What happened?
He said butt pirates because we were talking about buttholes and pirates.
Okay. All right. I'm on board. Sort of.
No, yeah, there we go. Oh, you're on board?
I'm on board. I'm on deck.
Are you on the poop deck?
So Adam,
Start swabbing that deck,
oh God,
matey.
Adam, how far does your your interest in pirates go back?
I don't know, man.
Like what got you interested?
I really don't know. It's hard to put my finger on. I don't know. I just always kind of liked the idea of it. It's just, then I guess one of the issues was, growing up, they didn't really have any kind of like games. And of course, they didn't have any films about it either. And then they started actually like some, game makers started exploring pirate games and some filmmakers started exploring like pirate films again. Because, there was that horrible, what was that? There was some film that basically put pirate films in like a 20-year hiatus. It was that, what was it called? It was some movie with Gina Davis. I don't remember exactly what it was called, but it was one of the biggest commercial flops in film history, and it kind of killed pirates for 20 years.
Wow.
Then they made their way back, and I don't know. I guess after all this stuff got reintroduced, I realized I actually really liked like pirate mythology and sort of the feel of these kinds of things. So I don't know.
I mean, pirate films they go back even to the silent era of film, and then you had Treasure Island from back in the, I think the 40s or 50s, and that was like a big budget Disney release from back in the day.
It's Cutthroat Island. This movie basically killed pirates in the United States for about 20 years.
Huh, I never heard.
I've never seen that movie.
Well, I don't think anyone did. That's
Apparently,
why.
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I was just curious, man, because I don't know when I realized you were interested in pirates, but when I was a kid, like really really young, I saw Treasure Island. I'm pretty sure that's what it was called anyway. Long John Silver movie, and I was pretty fascinated with pirates for a long time, and then I just kind of forgot about pirates until the Pirates of the Caribbean movies came out, and then it's like, pirates are back again, and so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a thing that they kind of disappeared from the cultural consciousness there for a long time.
Yeah, they really did. But we're not talking about pirates. We are, however, talking about E3 2015. This is Rare Drop Gaming Podcast. We thank you guys for listening. Now let's move on to another really big title that just kind of had a teaser trailer. And that is one that I know is near and dear to Andrew's heart. It's kind of a love-hate relationship these days, though. And that title is the next Mass Effect, named Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah.
You sound so excited, man. I mean, we knew this was coming, but
it's
we
like
didn't know
it's
anything
like
about
when
it.
you break up with your girlfriend, and then like she calls you back someday, but you're kind of like moved on, but then you remember the good times, and you're like, well, maybe I should call her back. I don't know. You wronged me, Mass Effect. You wronged me.
Man,
We had something special.
Not right.
It's too bad we don't have like edit powers in this anymore, because this would be a funny time to go in and like add some. I'm never gonna dance again. Guilty feet have got no rhythm.
Yep, that would be pretty good.
That is the sad part about doing a live show. We can't just, add stuff in, and we can't cut stuff out either. So
There is no
get it.
post.
you get it live and you get it raw.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
That's also what the pirates say, by the way.
That's also what they say in the silent butthole. The fractured butthole. Sorry. We do it raw.
Oh yeah.
How many pirate jokes can we get in here?
I think I don't know if this is more a pirate joke or a South Park joke, but
Is
I don't
that
know.
a challenge?
Did we lose John?
He's probably like, what am I doing with my life?
Probably.
No, I'm watching it play, and I'm like, why is he not disarming the bombs?
Dude, look, do you see the situation I'm in here? I've got 2 aliens up here. I've got another one over here that is mind melded with this guy, giving him 4 HP. They're both on Overwatch. I can't move or they're going to shoot at me. I've got 2 turns to disarm these bombs. This is bad. If I go over here, it's half cover. If I duck behind the bomb, so I'm scared. That's basically what it boils down to.
Oh, you don't get full cover behind the bomb.
Yeah, see how only half the shield here is lit up? You'll see in 30 seconds.
Okay.
That means half cover. When the shield
Okay,
is
I
fully
didn't know
lit up, that means full cover. So I'm much more well defended. So I'm like, what do I do? But anyway, going back
Since
to
we're off on a
Mass Effect.
segue right now, has anyone played the Kung Fury game?
No,
I've heard good things.
no, I don't know anything about that one.
I've never played that one. It's on my wish list, I think.
I was just curious if it because I haven't purchased
They
it,
didn't
but I
see
was.
me. Go ahead.
Has everyone out there in podcast world actually seen the Kung Fury movie? Because if you haven't, you should go see it now.
No.
Nope.
You haven't seen the Kung Fury movie?
Is that the one that like makes fun of kung fu movies?
Not exactly. It's making fun of 80s movies more than anything.
I had heard that was like really disrespectful to martial arts films. So
What?
I've actively avoided it.
I kind of think if you're taking martial arts films that seriously, that it's probably problematic. But no, the guy who made this obviously loved like ridiculous 1980s like Jean-Claude Van Damme films.
Oh, huh. I'd probably enjoy it then, because I have a love for those films, even though I realize they're horrible. You know, kind of like I do bad horror movies. Kind of like I do Riccio. Like, you know, it's awful, but it's like a car wreck. You can't look away.
So didn't you see the trailer for Kung Fury where like the cop goes back in time to kill Hitler,
Oh,
aka Kung Fuer?
I'm thinking of something different, I think. But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So there was a Steam game
Anyway.
came out for that too. So yeah. Anyway, back
Nice.
to E3, I assume.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Mass Effect Andromeda. Andrew, you're the Mass Effect guy, man. I mean, I played the first 2. I played 3. You know, the first I should say the second is definitely the best. You know, the third is
Yeah,
It's
the
a good-
second is definitely the best in my opinion. There's people who disagree with me, which blows my fucking mind, honestly. But, yeah.
and you know, of course I think every show we talk about the disappointment that was the ending of Mass Effect 3. You know, I will still maintain it's a very good game, but yeah, it certainly has issues. The ending is awful, to
Yeah.
say the least.
Yeah, it's real bad.
And if you put like 5 or 6 years of your life into this series, that's bound to piss you off pretty good. So
I was displeased, needless to say.
So, I mean, do you think this can redeem the Mass Effect series, or is it impossible?
I mean, no. Heck no, it's not impossible. The thing is, we don't know anything about what to expect from this. So
Yeah, 'cause it's not taking place in.
it's a new galaxy.
galaxy.
Yeah, so I mean, all it has to do with Mass Effect really is the fact that it's being done by BioWare and it's a sci-fi game with that history. Assumedly. I assume I should say. Because you know, we don't even know if it's like after the events of Mass Effect 3 or if it's a prequel or, you know, any of that, but
I thought they said it was after 3.
did they? If they did, I've missed that.
Or it's
So,
taking place during 3.
I haven't followed it that closely, to be honest. I'm not. It's nowhere close, so I'm not really worried about following it that closely.
And that can change. Everything can change.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they have the story at least, you know, down pretty good at this point. But
Mm.
I'm not gonna worry about it until, you know, like it's at least a year from coming out and they're releasing real stuff. We can kind of, you know, tell more about it.
Hey, the Mako's back.
The Mako is definitely back.
Yay.
The Mako reactors.
I'm not really happy about that, but whatever.
You need to
makes
get
them happy.
Avalanche in here if you're not happy about the Mako.
That's right. And don't worry, they'll be here in like 2019. Just give
Hooray.
them another, you know, 3 to 4 years.
So
The video
since-
game that taught us being an eco-terrorist is cool.
So, I mean, we don't even know if, like, we don't know if in this galaxy it's like in the past. Excuse me, in the past, in the future. We don't have any idea of that yet, do we?
No, we don't know. Oh, I'm
From the
fucked.
looks of it, it takes place during what we would know as Mass Effect.
Well, hopefully you're not going back to the past, because then you have to play the shitty games that suck ass.
Nice.
Sorry.
That's true. He's not wrong.
Indeed. So, I'm gonna ask the same question I did for Final Fantasy VII, since this is a big one. And this is to everyone who has played Mass Effect. I mean, what do you guys hope from this new iteration of Mass Effect?
Go back to Mass Effect 2. That's kind of it.
Well, I mean, what do you mean by, like, can you be more specific?
Well, okay.
Like, if you could talk to the Mass Effect developers, what would you tell them?
I would tell them,
Is that before or after he throttles them?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I would tell them basically. I mean, look at, to me, what made the best parts of Mass Effect 2, you know, what it was, and in my opinion, what that was is it was a story where it seemed like everything was on the line. You were going up against, you know, like in 3, kind of like almost impossible odds. You went into this mission thinking, we're probably not going to come back alive, but it gave you the tools and the possibility to not only complete your objective, but to come out with everyone alive. You just needed to do everything right. Yeah, I mean, you needed to, you know, you need to have everybody's loyalty. You needed to make the right calls when it mattered. You know, you felt like a commander, but you felt like a badass commander if you did things right, who, you know, really was this living legend, basically, which is what, you know, Commander Shepard became. So, you know, they needed to do that. They needed to, of course, focus on having, you know, companion characters with deep backstories that, you know, you could really probe into, you know, that, you know, were interesting personalities. You know, and not only that, they're always different species, so you're able to kind of learn more about their people. You know, there's this vast ecosystem out in the galaxy, and, you know, you got kind of even explore the politics of, you know, how they interact with each other, not only just, you know, the personality of this individual. There's so much good stuff in Mass Effect, and a lot of it was even in Mass Effect 3. There was just some missteps and a lot of missed polish, in my opinion, in Mass Effect 3 that they had in Mass Effect 2. Also, it had a really satisfying conclusion in 2, even though it was the middle story. So, it's ironic that Mass Effect 2 had a more satisfying ending than Mass Effect 3, but I digress. You know, they need to focus on those things. They need to get back to... they need to get back to trying to make a really good game instead of, like, in my opinion, trying to fit more bullet points on a list that, you know, like to put on the back of the box. Like, you know, multiplayer doesn't need to be in my freaking Mass Effect game.
Yeah, that was gonna be my thing. There's no multiplayer, just co-op.
But do you think at this point it's almost become like a friggin' stupid requirement, you know?
I mean,
like,
I think that they'll have it. Look at freaking Dragon Age. They put it in Dragon Age even.
That's funny. I was gonna say, wouldn't it be funny, since you're talking about going back to the past in Mass Effect? Wouldn't it be funny if you do go back to the past at some point during this Mass Effect sequel and you end up like playing Dragon Age?
Better yet,
you just find out that this is actually Thetis, or Thetis exists in the Mass Effect galaxy, and you know.
Yeah, and you go back and like the another archdemon is woken up, and now you've got to kill it with your like plasma rifles and shit.
I think it would be real fucking easy.
Well, better yet, have Shepard go back to Mass Effect 3 and like stop the crappy ending.
Well, Shepard, it's not going to be in this. Shepard's story's done.
Oh, yeah.
You're not Shepard, sadly.
But you're going to be somebody else, right? So.
Yeah, we don't know anything about the main character, but you know, you're going to be Shepard too, basically.
Yeah, but you know, Mass Effect has never really played with time travel, and that's something sci-fi is very fond of doing. So I mean, it's, you know, I mean, I'm just saying, like, hey,
I don't think that they're
kind of
ever going to do that, because BioWare has been stubborn in their refusal to be like, no, this is our artistic vision, blah blah blah, bullshit. It never mind, it's a shitty vision, but you know. I don't think anything.
Sounds
like
just a few people decided the ending, so that's not really.
Two people decided the ending.
Yeah, you know, with a team of how many hundreds of people worked on it, that's not an artistic vision, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I agree. But whatever. That's all done. I just hope that Mass Effect 4 can kind of redeem the franchise, go back to what's interesting, and they can also pull more of a Mass Effect 1 in making it a very introductory story. They don't necessarily need to introduce us to the core concepts of Mass Effect like they did in Mass Effect 1. But it's a new galaxy, so I expect to see new species. I expect to see all kinds of new crazy politics and conflicts and all that kind of cool stuff. But I hope that it has a more Mass Effect feel in terms of almost like more of an outlaw thing also. It was very much, in Mass Effect 2 you were in the gritty underbelly of the galaxy, whereas Mass Effect 1 you were seeing kind of like the political, polished, sheen of the surface that they want you to see. And Mass Effect 3, or 2 rather, was, much more gritty in terms of, what you were seeing in the galaxy. I kind of like those kinds of tales more, I guess.
Yeah.
That's just personal opinion, or personal preference, rather, though. So, that's by no means subjective. Or objective.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I totally agree with you there. I mean, I kind of feel the same way on it. But everybody is different, no doubt about that.
Oh, yeah. We're all snowflakes.
Yes, yes. Indeed.
Anyway, that's enough about Mass Effect, I think.
All right. Let's see here. Moving on to a really big one. No Man's Sky. There has been so much talk about this. It is an indie game, and it's been in development for a long time now. I think the big deal about this one is, the exploration. People want to be able to explore all these different galaxies, and just from what I've seen, there's no doubt that this game is going to be massive.
Yeah, definitely. What I do think a lot of people are questioning at this point is like how long will it take for you to get bored with the kind of thing that Mass Effect that No Man's Sky brings to the table. But
yeah, I mean, a lot of people are comparing it to Mass Effect, which I feel it's
that's
a mistake.
Ludicrous.
They're
nothing alike at all.
Exactly, and I feel like the people that feel like it's going to be an indie game Mass Effect are going to be very disappointed, because this game is about exploration. Mass Effect was about telling a really great story.
Yeah, it's
with
basically
all these...
a sci-fi series in the form of a video game.
Right. But I mean, I'm excited with what this game is bringing to the table, because it automatically generates these planets. So I mean, you go to these planets and you're gonna find certain wildlife. You might find dinosaurs on a planet. You might find little chickens on a planet. But I think that this game is gonna do space exploration really well, and I think that's what's really gonna be the draw for it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's kind of what the game is about. It has combat and all that, but I mean, it doesn't sound like there's a bunch of lore to draw you into really caring about, who you're backing and who you're fighting and all that. So I feel like that'll almost be kind of like, it's just dependent on circumstance. It isn't like you really have a vested interest in that kind of thing, I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much of a story this is going to have.
We don't know.
And I mean, is it going to be something where the story is going to take place over time? Yeah, like you said, Moose Gallon, we don't know. I mean, it's fun to debate it, but I just feel like people are putting way too much pressure on this game almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're kind of setting themselves up for disappointment, I feel like.
But the dev isn't helping.
Really? I feel like they've been kind of modest.
Yeah,
No,
I feel like they've been pretty damn humble.
I think they've been very humble, but they're also not very good at stamping down expectations.
I mean, they're not in charge of the marketing, clearly.
People, go nuts over this game. And not
of course, because they're trying to make the best game they can, and they want to make money. That would be weird if they weren't. No, our game's gonna suck. Don't buy it.
No, I'm not saying they should say the game's gonna suck, but I think they really should have gotten on stage and said, "Look, this game is at this. We're this far into this development. because the game still has no release date.
Yeah,
It-
I mean, they
it
said they're
doesn't.
going to put it out, or they're going to have a release date soon, but, you know, soon
yeah,
is not
I
a
mean,
release date.
I think by the end of the year we'll get a release date, and sometime next year probably would be.
I feel like
What I
it's
guess.
definitely going to be out next year.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Even the developer said something like, "Oh my god, if I'm at E3 again, you know." Like I don't think he wants to be at E3 again.
I mean, I'm
put it
sure
that
he's
way.
feeling the pressure, too.
Yeah.
Well, I say he like it's one man. I'm sure the team...
It's not
It's
a very
actually-
big team, if I
it's-
remember correctly.
It's a team of, like, 15
10.
people?
10 people.
Is
actually.
it 10? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So No Man's
Yeah.
Sky. We
Yeah.
we already know about this game, so, you know, I don't really think there's too much to say. We
Yeah,
just saw gameplay.
Right. So, it's exciting, but we'll see. Let's see. And I should mention again, thank you for listening to Rare Drop Gaming Podcast live. We're streaming here on Twitch. And moving on to
XCOM is losing horribly to set up XCOM 2.
Say again?
I said XCOM is losing horribly against the aliens to set up XCOM 2. You know, the proper story.
Yes, indeed. That's what's going to happen in this. Well, they haven't said like is it an alternate universe? I guess we'll talk about it when we get to it.
Yeah, we will. I just,
But anyway,
you know, things
Last
are not looking
Guardian.
good, so I thought it was amusing. Yeah, Last Guardian showed up. How fucking crazy is that?
did you guys like had you written this game off because it's been a long time since?
Oh
we've
yeah,
seen this.
I thought this was vaporware.
Wow.
I thought it was going to transform into something else.
Yeah, I kind of thought so too. Like I figured it was going to be retitled or something, and we would never know. But here it is. And how many years has it been since we've seen this game?
6, I think.
Yeah, 6 or 7.
Rookie Bernard
So-
was killed.
Nice.
That's not nice.
Oh, I thought you killed him.
Why would I be killing a human? That man had a family and he was just murdered by aliens.
That man had a family.
My God.
That's right. But yeah. Yeah, I did not
He has a
think...
family.
I did not think that we would be seeing No Man's Sky.
Last Guardian.
Last Guardian.
Yeah.
Needless to say.
But we did.
We did. And it looks cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it has platforming elements. It reminded me of that game Journey that is on the PS3 network. You guys know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
I know what you're talking about.
It reminds me a lot of that. Like, I totally got that vibe from it.
I
I
can see
wonder-
that comparison.
Like, I wonder about the controls. Like, they look like they might be a little clunky. I mean, I can't really tell by playing it, right? But
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it's hard for me to put it into words, but it just looked like it might not be as responsive as I would hope a platformer to be. And, you know, maybe that's just personal preference, right? But
I mean, and it's not done yet, so.
it's not, yeah. I can say the game is, I mean, it's just gorgeous, man.
Yeah, it looks real nice.
Yeah, so kudos to them for that.
It
But-
should.
Yeah. Did we get a release on this? You guys know?
2016. I believe.
2016.
I think they just put up the year, if I remember right. I'm
Like-
pretty sure I do, though.
Like everything else, pretty much?
Mhm.
Yeah, basically.
Excellent. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great stuff coming. 2016 is going to be a damn good year for gaming.
2015 is a great year for gaming already, so.
It
yeah.
is. It is. Next up is a title that has become near and dear to my heart, and that is Hitman. They showed a trailer for it. It's actually coming out this year, and we didn't actually see any footage of the game, which is a little disappointing.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the trailer?
It was a cool trailer. It just, it didn't tell us too much.
Agent 47 is back, son.
That's right.
Bald is beautiful. That's all I'm saying.
That's the tagline for the game, huh?
Yeah, totally.
I'm just gonna run my guy out so he can get murdered.
Much like Hitman. No. So the interesting thing about this game is it is being released as a full $60 title, and it is a full release. I don't know how long the game is, but it's a full game. But rather than doing DLC that you're gonna have to pay for over a period of months, you're going to get the DLC later on, and this DLC is going to be a different story from that in the full game. So, excuse me, this is kind of cool in my opinion because they're not screwing you over like most game companies do, and it's new content. So, in theory, it's really cool. I guess my only question with that is, well, how long is the finished game going to be?
Yeah.
Because the last Hitman that came out was pretty damn short. Like, it was definitely a rental.
Yeah, I think that the last one was also more linear than most Hitman games, though, and
Yeah,
they said in the
definitely.
stage interview that this one is going to be, much more open again. So,
Which is always more exciting to me.
If it's more like Blood Money, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I get the impression that's what they're going back to.
I'm calling this a loss and loading up one of my other save games
There
Okay.
you go.
because there's no way that I could come back from this.
So that's where the story.
Yeah,
XCOM
XCOM
begins.
was invaded and destroyed.
Right. All right. There you go. You saw it first right here on Rare Drop Gaming.
Yep.
But yeah, I feel like Hitman, like even the old PlayStation games, had this really cool sense of like what would you say, like a British kind of European style, and I don't really know any other game that has accomplished it as well as this game. Like, you've had James Bond games, right? But I mean, they're usually not good. Let's be perfectly honest. So this is going to be cool, I think. It'll be nice to actually see it in action. But
Shizzle.
but the last Hitman looks so good. I mean, I have no doubt it's going to be a pretty game. No doubt about that.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to it.
Yep.
When is this one coming out? I don't remember the release window at all.
I know it's by year's end, but I'm not sure the exact date.
I got you.
I think it's in December, if I'm remembering correctly.
Hmm.
It's like early December, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I
But
gotcha.
yep, that's one to keep an eye on. All right, up next, we were shown a whole lot of Street Fighter V at E3, man. That game was everywhere. I feel like every website you'd go to, there was a live stage demo, and I mean the game looks great from what I can tell. Graphically, I can't tell a lot of difference from Street Fighter 4. What did you guys think?
I mean, it's got a slightly different style, but yeah. I mean, I think graphics are just getting so good at this point that I can't tell.
Well, they didn't
a
really
massive
change the
difference.
art style at all, so
Yeah.
it ends up looking very same-ish.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt too. But I know that, of course, combos are going to be tweaked, things like that. So it's going to be a game that feels different, but it's still going to be Street Fighter. I guess to me, the more interesting story with this game is the fact that it is a PlayStation 4 and a PC game, and it's cross-platform. Like, you can play people who are on a PC on your PS4 and vice versa. One interesting thing to me, though, is that Capcom has stated that this game will never, ever come to Xbox One, which is...
Apparently, Sony helped fund it.
Yeah,
Sony's
like-
putting a ton of money into this
Yeah,
game. It's
Capcom
not
said
going nowhere.
that they just could not afford to do Street Fighter V if it weren't for Sony.
which
Goes to
insane
show
me.
how, what a state Capcom is in now.
I mean, it's a lot of bad decisions on their part. Like the... what was it? The game with Dante. The Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
Stupid game.
Yeah, they
Horrid
completely
decisions they
ruined his appearance.
Yeah.
And then they
exactly.
mocked the old Dante appearance in the game,
That's
even
what-
though he looked worse. It's like,
Yeah,
what are you doing?
absolutely ridiculous. So that, and of course the all the horrible stuff that happened with the creator of Mega Man. The fact that he left.
Yeah, and his new game is 83 and looks awesome.
There
what a
you go.
shock.
You know, I just another example, the new Dead Rising. Is it Dead Rising 3 or Dead Rising 4?
4, I believe.
You know,
sure.
not a great release. It's very average.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like a new one. Yeah, the last one was 3.
Yeah, okay, so Dead Rising 3. You know, another example of a game that was, again, it was not Japanese produced, but Capcom is putting money into this Canadian studio. And, I mean, the second one was okay, but, like, it just never really moves forward, you know? So Capcom has just made a series of really bad decisions that kind of echoes that of, like, Midway and THQ and other companies that have gone out of business, you know?
Yeah, Konami was heading that direction.
Oh yeah, Konami is definitely next on the list, probably. I don't know who's going to go first, Capcom or Konami, or maybe they'll both just go into making, you know, mobile games.
Yeah, yeah, that's possible.
But in any case, you know, getting back on track, Street Fighter V, it looks good. I'm excited. I'm probably not going to buy it at release because Capcom screws you, you know? I don't know how else to say it. Like,
it's because they repackage their stuff all the time.
Yep, and then they sell it for cheaper, making you feel like crap for buying this game earlier. And it's like, really, guys?
I mean, a lot of companies do that, but Capcom is, you know, pretty egregious with it.
Yeah. It's not cool. And you know, again, they're going to charge you for DLC, and it's just Capcom's practices are not customer friendly. And I feel like that's why so many people have kind of turned their back on the company, you know, and they're like, well, we'll just wait for the Ultimate Edition you're going to give us for cheaper later on down the road.
Yeah, I hear you.
Moose, I'm interested, or John, I should say, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this because, you know, we talk a lot about the state of Japanese gaming, right? And I mean, what do you think about Capcom's current direction?
The problem is Capcom has enough IP and enough catalog that they'll be fine.
I don't know about that.
Because, you know, what we're not talking about is 2016 or 2017. For Mega Man's 35th anniversary, they're doing a new show and probably a new game. You know, they've got plenty of ways to make money. You know, if Sega have shown us anything, companies can exist as long as they want to. You know, no matter how shitty it is.
You can only make so many bad moves, though, and you do go under like a Midway or a THQ.
But Midway and THQ had financial problems.
Well, I'm just saying, like, obviously Capcom does as well at this point, right?
Not really. No, because they're not a publicly traded company.
Really? Are you sure?
I don't believe so.
I don't know that for a fact. Like, I have no clue if they're...
You know, THQ and Midway had the problem of being publicly traded companies.
Yeah, no, I know they were.
You know, the only reason Nintendo has any problems right now is because they're a publicly traded company. If they were not a publicly traded company, they would have zero problem.
Well, Nintendo's doing alright right now.
I'm just of the problems they have.
Yeah, I mean
Nintendo's
you know, been in a much worse spot before. Is all I'm saying.
Correct. But
Like, they're doing alright this year.
Yeah, they're doing very good this year in comparison to last year. But it also comes to the fact that they have shareholders they have to please.
Yeah.
And Capcom, to my knowledge, does not have that problem. You know, and Capcom can make deals. You know, this
was certainly a good deal for them.
Yeah, this is a huge deal for Capcom. Sony is putting up probably most of the money. And they're getting... I don't know how good the product is going to be.
Capcom is a publicly traded company.
Thanks for dropping in, Sun Wukong, Adam.
Yes.
And we will see you later.
I gotta take off. It's Father's Day, so we got Father's Day things to do. So
yeah, man, I didn't want you to just, you know, not get any. Yeah, you'd be like, what happened?
Yeah, thanks for joining us, man. We'll hopefully do it again sometime soon.
Yep. Take care, guys.
Have a good one.
All
man.
right, later, man.
All right.
Now, are they a publicly traded company in Japan or in the U.S.?
Looks like U.S.
See, that's not good.
Probably in Japan as well. I would assume.
Well,
now, I don't
Japan's
know.
being publicly traded in Japan is not as detrimental as it is in the U.S.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about a lot about how it works over in Japan compared to the States, but yeah, they are publicly traded, and
Yeah, then that's not
and
good. Then
my-
they're gonna start hitting that problem.
now if you type in is Capcom a publicly traded company, you can actually see the the charts, the growth, and
Mhm.
man, it is a downward spiral. It is
Yeah,
it is awful.
I mean, it's
I'm
not
surprised
surprising at all.
I'm surprised they're still publicly traded at this point. I'm
Yeah,
surprised they weren't
it's-
delisted.
Jesus Christ, it's really bad. And it's funny, as I typed in is Capcom, and the first thing that comes up in Google is Capcom dead?
Yeah.
Like, good God, man. So, I mean, this is definitely a smart move for Capcom, and
Mhm.
man, maybe I will buy this game just to try to keep one of my beloved childhood companies alive. It's not gone already.
You know,
You
know?
gotta do something for me if I'm gonna buy your product. Like I'm not
Capcom
gonna
only
buy you on
had-
charity.
Capcom only had 2 games at E3.
Street Fighter V, what was the other one?
The Mega Man Collection for 3DS and Wii U and Vita and
Yeah.
PSN and stuff like that. They only really, to my knowledge, had 2 games there.
Right. Well, Fire
know,
Fire Emblem.
No, Fire Emblem
That's
is
not Capcom.
that's not Capcom.
That's Nintendo.
Oh. Oh.
That's
see,
Nintendo.
There you go. Never mind.
Yeah, they make Fire Emblem. I can tell you that for a
Yeah.
fact.
Oh, I'm
You
thinking
know.
of Breath of Fire.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
thinking
yeah.
Breath of Fire, which they just
They
put
haven't
out
made
a
that
mobile-
in forever.
They just put out a mobile game that sucked. So
Oh, big surprise.
Yeah.
A
So
mobile
man,
game is bad. Who would have thought?
and it's really sad because the Capcom licensing department knows what the hell they're doing. The Archie comics for Mega Man are really good. And if they get the same writing team to do the new Mega Man show, it'll be good.
yeah.
But it's very dependent on that show being good. Sonic Boom can be a great show, or can be a good show, but the games were garbage.
Yeah.
And didn't sell, and Sega's in a rut again. I understand they want to do the transmedia thing, and they want to try to hit multiple outlets for money, but they got to do better than Sonic did.
Words
Yeah.
that have been spoken many a time, I assure you.
Indeed.
Correct.
We got to do better than Sonic did.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I just thought the topic kind of tied in, and I mean, it's interesting to me that they're dead set on Street Fighter V not coming to Xbox One, but it is coming on PC, which is essentially a Microsoft platform now, in a way.